Sometimes, a video game peripheral can truly enhance a gaming experience and make it like nothing you could do with a normal controller. The craze of Guitar Hero and Rock Band would have been nothing without their guitar and drum peripherals. But other times, peripherals are plastic shit that should never have been made and are just going to cause mass pollution. What's up guys, I'm Dave Klein, and these are my top 8 most useless video game peripherals ever. Number 8. I think most people know of R.O.B, or the Nintendo Robotic Operating Buddy, thanks to Super Smash Bros. And a little history for you. Before the NES made its way over to the United States, it was first introduced to the Consumer Electronics Show as the AVS, or Advanced Video System. Potential buyers hated it, and people in the United States were afraid video games would never sell to an American audience. Thus, Nintendo and Gunpei Yokoi devised R.O.B, who would sell alongside the newly retooled Nintendo Entertainment System. While buyers were still uneasy about the NES, they actually liked R.O.B, and Nintendo used it to help market the NES. But cool history aside, R.O.B really doesn't do, well, anything. It could only be used for the game's Stack Up and Gyromite, and, well, that's it. Number 7. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've never used this controller, and I mainly bring it up because when you look at it, your first response will likely be, what the fuck? The Alpha Grip AG5 PC gaming and text entry controller. This is easily the weirdest controller design I have ever seen, and I'm not exactly sure how you're supposed to hit a button without accidentally hitting 5 other buttons in the process. Look, I get the idea of wanting to have as much functionality as you can on a controller, but this truly proves that sometimes simple is better. Like way far and away better. Number 6. The Nintendo Power Glove is so bad.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
And by that I mean not in the hip and cool way, it's just a failed peripheral. And look, I'll be the first to tell you that as a kid, I thought it was badass and wanted one. Mainly because I thought it looked cool, but in the end, only 2 games released that had Power Glove specific functionality. And if you wanted to use it as a real controller, well, look at the thing. You have to take it off to even use it as a normal controller. Although part of it might just be sadness and jealousy because I never ended up getting one. I just wanted a cool robotic arm. Number 5. This one breaks my heart. I remember seeing ads for it in magazines when I was a kid and actually really wanting this. The Sega Activator. Essentially, it's an octagon where you could play fighting games by kicking or punching, and the players on screen mimic your moves. And as someone who grew up taking martial arts and loving video games, it seemed like a dream come true. Unfortunately, the technology wasn't there yet, at all. Each point of the octagon was supposed to be a different button on the controller, and by swinging your arms or kicking over this point, which had a light beam that you'd be covering, it would act like pressing a button, except it worked like crap, with the light beams easily being screwed up, and because of the octagon design, you're kinda just flailing in all directions to desperately swing over the buttons you need to press, so basically, a complete and utter failure. Number 4. Okay, so this one was so bad that it was never actually released, and therefore worth mentioning. The Atari Mindlink. Essentially, this was a headband that would control a game by reading a player's myoneural signal voltage from their forehead. What? Okay, so myoneural is the connection of the muscles to the nerves, so basically, I guess it was reading your furrowed brows? In testing, players got frequent headaches from using their eyebrows so much to play games, and it was eventually scrapped. Now, these are just old Atari games, but can you imagine trying to play Dark Souls with just your eyebrows? Number 3. The Wii is basically the king of stupid, useless plastic junk. Because the console sold well, everybody wanted to cash in by making whatever peripherals they could, and none of them are quite so dumb as Wii Slip-Proof Gloves. Even though the Wii came with the strap in case you were sweating enough to toss your controller, that's not good enough. No, no, no. You need to buy gloves for the express and sole purpose of holding your controller without dropping it.
You big dumb baby.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to get your hands on one of these, you can buy some used ones from Amazon, because you know, that's not weird or anything. Number 2. Because carrying a Game Boy in your pocket or backpack wasn't good enough, back in the day, Nyko created a hip clip so you could attach the Game Boy Color to your belt buckles. While this particular accessory attaches a Game Boy to your hip, it will make you the opposite of hip. Look, I was a huge dork when I was a kid and super proud of the fact that I like video games, and even I would have thought this was a terrible idea. Somehow, this has a 4.5-star average on Amazon with 3 reviews that seem non-trolly, and I don't know if I've ever been so confused before. Number 1. I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed the Kinect when it first came out, thanks in large part to both Dance Central and Kinect Adventures. And speaking of Kinect Adventures, one of the best games on it was River Rush, where you would go down a river rapid on an inflatable boat and attempt to avoid obstacles while collecting coins. But you know what would make it so much better? If you had an inflatable boat to jump on in real life while you did this. Yup, this is a real video game peripheral. The Game Boat. An inflatable raft to jump on, because, well, I don't even know. The funny thing is, I think jumping on this is actually more dangerous than jumping on the ground, because you could bounce off and actually hurt yourself. But hey, apparently you can use it in the water as an actual raft, which I hear is great for playing electronic video games. That does it for the most useless video game peripherals ever. Question though, if you were stuck with one, which would you choose? Let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.